Hi, welcome to Fly Tying, the Angler's Art. I'm Carolyn Sells, this is LeRoy Hyatt. And tonight's program we're going to be tying 2 lake flies and a steelhead fly. We're going to do a Boatman pattern.
Water Boatman.
Water
yes.
Boatman pattern. We have a guaranteed, and we're doing, what was the skater pattern?
Caddis stone skater. It's a variation of a Caddis stone. I just call it my steelhead muddler, or a variation of a steelhead muddler.
Okay.
With the Water Boatman, that's what we'll start with, yep. I will use an 8/0 black tying thread, or brown tying thread, I'm sorry. I have a size 8 hook. It's a 2X long. The wing, or the wing case, will be the turkey breast feather because it's shinier than a lot of the turkey. The body will be tied out of peacock herl, and the 2 little legs out at the front will be tied with goose biots.
Cool.
So we'll dress the hook shank just like we always do.
Now I really like this pattern. I got a couple of lakes. I'm all ready to try this one on.
I've never fished a Water Boatman.
Oh, this is a great looking pattern.
Water Boatman.
That's because you like to fish deep, and I like to fish out there in those weeds.
I fish it fairly deep. I do. But, and you know, I've heard guys talk about being in a Water Boatman hatch, and it's just like it's hailing. The boatmen, when they hit the water, they just come floundering down. Now I'm going to pull just a little section of this off, and I use this breast feather because it is so shiny. It gives that back a real shiny appearance. I'll tie this in by the tip, and I have the dull side up. Down. I'm sorry, down, so that when I fold it over, it will come up. Now I use the peacock herl, and you know, I'm just amazed at how often from the flies that we picked out, we've used peacock herl, and we did not do that intentionally. It's just the way it came out. But it's, like we've said, it's an excellent,
very versatile body material.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
All right, I'll again wrap that peacock, make a little rope out of it, and here we go forward. Now I don't want to go too far because I have to put the biots in, and which become the legs, and I have to put a little peacock head on this fly. We'll get those bound down, clip it off, and fold this wing case over. Now you can see that's a nice shiny
that has a
little wing case. Yes, it does. And again, the natural material, I think so many times, is better than some of the dyed stuff. Not always, but it's kind of neat to use it that way. Then I'm going to put the 2 little biots in, which will become the legs. And you know, we've used biots on several flies we've tied this series too. We really have. All right, this is going to go out over the back.
Now these are kind of pointed out away from the fly,
yes,
right?
Yes, and it's tied in almost on top of the fly.
Okay.
That one wanted to rotate around, but you see what I'm saying. And then we'll tie this one on my side and try to make it about the same length as the one you just tied in. Tie it down. And there's the 2 little legs. And those guys will just kick and carry on.
Yep, toss that in the weed beds and twitch it right back.
Yeah, I'll bet. I'm going to move those up just a little ways before I wrap them down. They kind of rotated down around the back a little. And then I want another little bit of peacock. And this I'm only going to take about 3 strands, maybe 4 in there. I didn't count them that close, because I'm just going to make a little head. And those boatmen do have a little head. I know that. I have seen them, but I have just never fished for them. But this has got to be one of the better Water Boatman patterns I have seen. It really is. The materials are quite readily available, and it's quite simple to tie.
Yep.
And tie the thing and easily go fishing the same day. Do you fish this mostly in the spring?
Yeah. Yep. April.
Because I think that's when, at least around here, most of us fish the lakes because the streams are still blowing out. We can't get on them.
We're just starting to warm up.
Yeah, so we fish the lakes and kind of get warmed up, get rid of the
But I love these Boatman
The winter
pattern
blues.
back in the weed beds along the edges. Yeah.
That's amazing. I've not done it. Now, if I were tying it at home before I put those biots on, I would coat that wing case with head cement.
Okay.
Again, more durability, a little bit of shiny to it, but I don't want to do that here and wait for it to dry. So I'll just give that head a nice little coat. And that's a very, very simple water Boatman. Peacock Curl body. It has turkey breast for the wing case, brown goose biots for the legs, and a peacock head. And now for our second fly, Carolyn will tie a fly. It's called a guaranteed. She assures me that no matter what lake I fish this in, I am guaranteed to catch a fish.
Yeah.
You don't know what some fishless days I have had. All right, show me. I'm
Okay.
from Missouri. Show me.
Yeah, this is a great lake trout. Fishing for trout in lakes. Okay, we're going to use an 8/0 thread. I think we've got a 14 long shank hook here. We've got some orange floss, we got some peacock curl, and we have a peacock breast feathers.
Peacock curl again.
Yeah,
Amazing.
peacock curl again.
Okay.
Yeah, let me gather up these guys. Yeah, this is a great little lake trout. You know, I shouldn't say lake trout, but
You don't use it in streams then?
No, I don't think so. This is
Okay.
primarily, I think, for trout in the lakes. You want to fish this one right off the tules and
So you're
twitch
fishing
it
shallow
back.
again with
Yeah.
a floating line?
Yep,
Okay.
yep, floating line, and we're twitching this out of the tules.
And you have caught fish with this fly?
Yeah, I have. This one I've used, yeah. So we're going to take a little orange floss, and all we are going to do is put a little button down here on the end.
A button?
What does this represent? A little egg sac,
Yeah.
I'm thinking?
But I think it's called a tag.
Okay, tag. Well, you know, I have different language.
I don't
Okay,
know.
we're going to take a couple wraps here. Button. Okay. We're going to make a little orange button here on the end. Okay, now usually what happens at this point, they'll take this fly and dip this floss into acetone. And
Oh,
what
yeah,
that
okay.
does is set that up.
Durability,
Yeah, and you get a little hard
I'm sure.
cover over the
I'm
top
sure,
of it.
yes.
Okay. And we're going to take, I don't know, 3. Let's
You know,
take
that
about
could
3 of these.
represent an egg sac. It really could.
Oh, so I was right.
That's.
I called it.
I wasn't arguing with you.
Oh, okay. Well, the button part you were.
The button part,
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Okay. Well, somebody else out there might.
Okay.
Okay. We're going to tie in our peacock curl right here, our favorite body material. Right?
Yes, boy, it has been.
And we're take it up to the front here. And we're going to wrap this in. Oops, we lost one of them. Let's back up here.
Now you need to do my little trick and wrap that.
Oh,
peacock
that's right.
around
Okay,
the-
hang on. How did you do that?
I shouldn't say that. You have
No,
fished
no,
these
no. Hey,
flies,
we
which
got time to do this.
works for you.
Okay, so you're grabbing all 3 of them.
And I just wrap them counterclockwise
Okay, let me make
around
sure
the
these
thread.
guys are counterclockwise. Oh boy.
Well,
Okay.
whichever way you want to wrap it.
And you do a few wraps like this?
3 or 4. Because as you wrap it around the hook, then it will constantly tighten itself around the thread.
Okay, now you can use
Now
your
hang
little
on to the thread and
this. Okay.
the
Oh yeah, I
peacock
like that.
at the same time.
See, I can follow instructions pretty good.
You did well.
So
But
we're
it
gonna,
makes for a much more durable
yeah,
body.
I imagine it was because they'll come
Yeah,
loose one at a
yeah.
time eventually. Otherwise,
And I don't know that it's quicker for me to do it that way. I mean, it probably felt cumbersome to
yeah.
you this time.
no, that was pretty good.
But
I just got to remember now. Okay, we're going to tie this off. Cut these little guys off. Now we're going to take one of our breast feathers. This is what really gives it an iridescent
yeah,
look
really
to
sets
this.
that off,
Yeah.
doesn't
So we're going to cut off the fuzzies. You hate that word. We're going to cut off the
it?
fuzzies.
You have a button and you're cutting off
Well,
fuzzies.
you know. Okay, and I'm going to do your little trick too. I'm going to tie it from the front, which some
from the
reason,
tip?
I was always
Well,
tying from the
Yeah,
rear.
but it works better for me. But again, everybody, it just proves that fly tying, there are many, many different methods and techniques of
Yep.
what to do with it.
Always learn something different.
But the product, the finished product, will come out about the same, or hopefully so.
I'm always hopeful that mine come out about the same as yours.
Well,
okay,
no,
that's my goal.
That's not necessarily so, but
Okay, we're gonna use a little tool on this because this is pretty small. We're gonna pull these guys
I like
back.
your little set of hackle pliers. I don't
like
know
those?
that I've ever played with a set of those.
We'll get these guys to fold backwards here, like they're supposed to.
Well, you can fold them back too
Yeah,
as you
with
wrap
the-
over
with the
with
line.
the thread. Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna catch that. Yeah, this makes a real iridescent look to this fly.
Now, do you know where this pattern came from?
You know, I don't. This has been, I don't know if this is just a Northwest pattern, but this has been in a lot of our...
So it is in some of the books around.
Yeah,
the pattern
especially
books.
for a couple of our fly fishing clubs. This is
okay.
a mainstay in one of the,
Okay.
in their books that they put out. So yeah, this is a real popular lake fly.
But you don't know who actually developed or came up with the
No,
fly?
I sure don't.
Okay.
So we're gonna
Well, you know,
finish
that
this
really
off
is
and get these
iridescent
back
with
out
that
of the
blue
way. Yeah,
peacock breast feather on there.
we got one hanging out here. We'll pick that off.
Oh, you can clip him off.
But this is called a guarantee. We'll have to cut him off. He was tougher than we thought. Guaranteed.
And you fish it shallow,
Fish it shallow.
floating line.
Yeah, and then once you
Long
let
leader.
that thing settle down in the water just a little bit, and then just twitch it back. Stop.
Because those blue fibers are
Yep.
going to work just
Yep.
like legs. They're going to
Yep.
kick.
So you're going to stop and let it settle again, and then start twitching it back.
A little
Great,
head
great.
cement on it.
Oh yeah, head cement. Yeah,
And
thanks.
we'll, that's a neat fly.
Yeah,
That is a neat fly.
it's pretty.
Even with a button on
I know
it.
you probably don't like that. It's pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, there we go. Guarantee. We have a little orange floss button. We have peacock curl for the body, and we have a peacock breast feather for the hackle.
Soft tackle.
Guaranteed. Okay, now this last fly is a golden stone skater. Now this is the one that I really am excited about learning right here. Steelhead fly.
It's been a good fly
Yeah.
for me this year, it really has. And again, it's a variation from that stone skater. But I'll show you what I do in a different way, and I'll tell you what changes I've made.
Okay.
I will use a 6/0 black tying thread. I'm tying it on a number 4 steelhead dry hook. The tail and underwing will be this orange crystal flash. Now I've tied this in both orange and red body material. This just happens to be wool yarn. You could use the stretch floss. You could use whatever you wanted.
Okay.
This is where I vary from the original pattern. The original pattern used turkey for the wings. I use hackle tips, the grizzly hackle tips. Then the overwing and the head will be with spun and clipped deer hair.
Okay.
I pinch the barb on the hook. I will run this tie. I will dress the hook shank, if I can keep it on the hook shank.
Now you were saying you fish this fly either wet or dry.
I don't dress the fly at all. I don't care where the fly goes in the water.
Okay.
I always use it on a floating line.
All right.
And I'll tell you, when the fish, this last year, when the fish took this fly, it was unbelievable take. There was absolutely no doubt in your mind what had happened.
So they're pounding it.
They were just pounding it.
Okay,
Yes, they
that's
were.
what we like to hear.
But, you know, there could be some subtle strikes in it later in the year. I was using it fairly early. Now, that might be still a little bit too much. It's hard to reach in there and grab what you need the first time out. This is going to become the tail. So I'll lay it in there, and I'm tying quite a little bit of it down.
Yes.
2 reasons. It'll make sure that that is bound in totally.
Okay.
Plus it gives a smoother transition for the body. We'll clip that off for the tail. I'll save this for the wing. Now, what color do you want? Red or orange?
Oh, let's do a red one.
Red one,
Yeah.
okay. Now this is a 4-strand floss, or yarn. I maybe can get by with 4. A lot of times I'll strip it down and do 2.
So it's a little
Yeah,
sparser body
right,
on it. Okay.
Right. I'll get this bound down good. And you can't get too close to the head with it, or the eye with this one, because of the spun head that's going to go on it.
Okay.
And again, I have no idea what this represents. I think in some instances, a steelhead is a lot like a trout. This is maybe something new in that area that I was fishing that the steelhead had not seen before. Because you know, as crowded as the steelhead waters get anymore, they see everything in the world. Now, crystal flash again. This time I'm going to double it.
And this is kind of the overwing, right?
This is the underwing.
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 Okay.
Now I'll fold that directly over the top of the hook, and by folding it in that way, I know that there is absolutely no way that can pull loose. Absolutely none. I'll come back here at the back, I'll cut it so it's about the same length as the tail is.
Okay.
And then this is again, like I said, this is where I varied the fly. I'll just take 2 grizzly hackle tips. The reason I do this, and I tie with turkey, but the turkey does not last as long as these grizzly hackle tips do. The hackle tips will almost vibrate in the water, if you will. They have good motion to them.
Turkey seems to separate. And yeah, it just doesn't.
Now what I've done is I've put dull side to dull side, which makes one wing. And I'll lay that on there so it's just slightly longer than the underwing we just put in. I'll pull that out, and now I'm going to tie in just by
You're going to tie them in together, okay.
Yes. You might be able to tie them in one at a time, but I doubt I could get away with it.
Okay.
All right, soft loop, pull it down, and wrap. And there's the overwing. Now, I'll get rid of those sections there. Now here comes the deer here. And this is where some people have some trouble, some people don't. I'm going to tie this in 3 clumps. Sometimes I can get away with it with just tying in 1 for the overwing, but sure as well if I try that, all the wheels will fall off and it won't work right. So I will do it in 3.
Okay.
I just even 1 fairly small, medium small clump of hair.
Yeah.
I want it about half the length of that underwing.
And you left the tips on this
one? I left the tips on. Now, I leave some section here too because that is going to become part of the head.
All right.
I'm going to lay it on the side of the hook opposite myself. Do not let it spin.
So you're holding this
I'm holding it.
Okay.
Soft loop it down, pull it tight. Another clump. And try to get it about the same size as that other one.
Okay.
You know, if you want to get real technical, I suppose you could go in and count the fibers. That way you'd know you'd have them even.
I don't think we have time for that one.
Don't have time for that. Okay. What I'll do is just lay this up there because I want it approximately the same length as the other one. Transfer hands, leave myself, again, the little butt sections there. Rotate it around. Tie it in place. Don't let it spin. Don't let it spin.
Okay.
Now I'm going to come slightly to the front, toward the eye, just very slightly, just to get my thread in front. Now this one, I will take a larger clump, and I'm not going to stack it. I'm just going to get the underfur out. Oh, excuse me. I should say the fuzzies out.
Get those fuzzies off of there.
Well, I take the underfur out. Okay.
Well,
now I'm going to tie them. I'm going to tie them in by the butt with the tips over the eye.
So you're going to leave those tips on?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, soft wrap. See it start to flare?
Yeah.
Now let go. Tension here. Just keep following it right around the hook shank. Now I'm going backwards into that first little clumps that we put on just to make sure it all marries together, then come back to the front. Grab those tips.
Oh, and that's why you left it long.
Becomes a little handle, if you will, and form the head.
Oh, you made that look real easy.
All right, I'll put a quick whip finish on it. Now, the way I trimmed this head, and I saw a picture of it in a catalog. We were fishing, and one of the guys we were fishing with was just hammering the fish with one of those flies that he got someplace, I don't even know where. He showed it to me. I had kind of memorized it in my head. This is what I came up with. I went back through the same areas the next time I went, And there's one run there that my partner and I, we call it that LeRoy was snake bit. I could not catch a steelhead out of this run, and Dave seemed like he caught one every bloody time he went through the thing. So the first time through with this fly, I caught a fish, and you know, the relief was great.
Yeah.
Because you know how ruthless some of those fishing partners
then
can
I'm
be.
really anxious to try this one then.
But it's been a really fun fly. I will let that current carry that fly wherever it wants to go in
So
the
you're
water
casting
column.
down,
Quarter
and
down,
let, okay,
quarter
and
down.
let it swing across.
Mend, let it swing.
Okay.
Mend, let it swing. And the fish that I have caught on this fly have taken a long ways out. They have not followed that fly into the
really?
bank at all. They've taken a long ways. And the majority of the fish, and I don't understand why this is.
So they're grabbing it before the swing, or as the swing
well,
starts?
just as it starts.
Okay.
But the majority of the steelhead that I caught with this fly this last year jumped, and I don't know why. You know, a lot of times steelhead won't jump. They did with this
Pretty cool
fly.
when they do, yeah.
Oh, when they just tail walk across the water,
Yeah.
you know. I always tell people, if you have any excess cholesterol in your system, just
You
go
just
catch a steelhead.
lose it, yeah.
Yeah, then it's all gone.
Well, I'd love to see them chase it across the swing.
Yeah, you
That
know,
is
you
so
could
cool.
dress this fly. Now, if I were going to do what you're saying and have it skate, I probably would not trim it in such a radical drop
You would
down
leave
on the
more?
nose. I would leave it a little bit rounder, a little bit bulkier.
Okay.
But I'm trimming it this way because that's the way I've caught fish with it.
So as you're swinging it across, this thing is underwater.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
However, I have seen takes for it. When they really boil after it, you can see
Yeah.
the take. You can see the
Yeah.
take. May not see the fly, but you can see the take.
That's
All
a
right,
great
I'll
fly.
put a little drop of head cement on it. And like I say, I do not call this a Caddis stone skater because I have varied the pattern. It's just a variation of that Caddis stone skater. I just call it my steelhead skater or my steelhead muddler. And it's been a very, very effective fly for me.
And this would be early season?
Early
Is this
season.
early season?
Early
then?
season,
Okay.
before the water column gets too cold, and they really will hammer that fly.
Okay.
But
And
it's
now
got,
you said you were using floating line.
I am.
Even
I
though
am.
you do let it go wet.
yes,
You're still using floating line on
absolutely.
this. Okay.
Well, at that time of year too, if I decide I want to fish with a wet fly, I'm still going to use a floating line.
Yeah.
But I'm probably going to be using a fly that is not heavily weighted, so it's
Okay.
just under the surface.
Okay.
So there's my steelhead skater.
Great fly.
It has a orange crystal flash tail. It has a red or orange body. Underwing is the orange crystal flash. The overwing is the grizzly hackle tips, and then the deer hair and spun head. And that wraps up another show. Again, 3 different flies. We had a water boatman, we had a guaranteed, and you do guarantee that will catch fish,
Yeah.
and we had a Caddis stone skater, or a variation of a Caddis stone skater, which is a steelhead fly. And again, a fun show. We used again a lot of peacock herl. Come back next week. We'll have 3 different flies for you. And remember, save a worm's life, fly fish.
LeRoy and Carolyn have produced a 60-minute video demonstrating how to tie 10 of their favorite flies, available on DVD number 28 for $18.95 plus shipping and handling. Programs from this series are also available on DVD. Each disc contains 2 programs and costs $18.95 plus shipping and handling. Please indicate disc number 26 for this episode. You can get the complete series of 13 programs for $89.95. Credit cards are accepted. To order, call 1-800-883-0124 or visit our website, kwsu.org. For more information about this program, please visit our website, kwsu.org.